Part of the reason, we go out and we do these checklists and inspections, and it's not like we got a whole lot of, Ferrari dealers out there that are subscribers, but these trips, it's not just about the cars, it's about the industry itself, right?
Yeah, we have to keep abreast of different features and different changes and see what's happening.
Yeah, so when you talk to some of the folks over at the dealerships, the managers, et cetera, what kind of trends are they talking about with these exotics and these ultra luxury models? Obviously with tariffs and everything that are out there now, these foreign built, they're going to be affected. But is it really going to put a dent in the folks' minds of the ones who are considering these vehicles?
Not in the buyers at these particular makes and models. I think, obviously, if you switch to a pre-owned, well, 2024 Ferrari 296 GTS, then you don't have to directly worry about the tariffs coming online. But actually, it's going to affect the whole market because when a new Ferrari 296 GTS jumps up by, I forget what it might be, 5, 10, 15% or whatever it is, depending on how much is absorbed by Maranello. Uh, and I know I mangled that one. Uh, that'll raise the market on a pre-owned one as well. And the interesting part was they did seem to be loading up on certain inventory, uh, some more than others. They didn't have a lot of Bentley or Rolls-Royce inventory. They had a lot of McLarens. They had I mean, for what's an easily mid six-figure vehicle, they had couple handsfuls of them.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, that's not a cheap automobile to begin with. I'd hate to have to play that floor plan every month. My goodness. But that's surprising. And with so many brands moving toward electrification, so I'm curious, what's the mood among these exotic dealers, and their customers about these EV supercars compared to the traditional ICE models?
Well, the market on these is actually a lot easier than on the typical consumer because, and this does play back to what we were talking about before about, difficult to find and hard to understand controls and hidden features. These people don't own one car that they have to use for every function and purpose. They can take the Rolls-Royce Spectre out to the opera, have the chauffeur plug it in when they get back home, and then they can take the Bentley Bentayga with the twin turbocharged 4-liter V8 out the next day. And then, they can hop into the Aston Martin Vanquish and, roar off on the weekend for, over town, overnight trip, uh, you know, up to Canada or whatever they want to do. So, and so the ability to get into one of these EVs is a lot easier for this clientele. Obviously, they're not living in an apartment where they have to worry about where to charge either. So uh, they're not going to have a typical two-car garage in most senses. So they're going to have a lot more real estate available where they can have a full-time charger or more than one full-time charger installed if they want to charge a Spectre. If they also want to have a charging port put for like one of the other ones I did was a Bentayga SE, which is the Bentley sport utility that has a plug-in hybrid, which kind of rides the fence between internal combustion and electric. So you can charge it up, think 30 miles, go 30 miles, and then, then the engine fires over. So you can do both.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty wild just to think about that, an EV supercar. Um, but when you go to one of these places, I mean, we're used to walking into a Lexus or an Infinity store, and it's a higher level experience. But when you're looking at a $500,000 automobile, that experience has to be, just to the nth degree. So what do you think the difference with that customer journey? When that customer says, "Hey, you know what? I want to put a deposit and I want to order a Ferrari or I want to order a Lamborghini." How do you
I have
think
a
that
theory. I have a theory because it was actually surprising to me at first, and it took me quite a while to figure it out. The dealership itself was, I think, several steps below a Lexus or even a BMW dealership. When you go into a Lexus dealership, it's like going into Tiffany's in London or New York. I mean, a guy practically picks you up at the front door and carries you in and then brings you and gives you a crystal goblet of sparkling water. There was none of that there. In fact, I didn't even find bottled water while I was there. I lost $2 in a vending machine back at the service department, but other than that, I drank out of a little water cooler machine that was near the conference room. And I have a theory. These people don't go to that dealership. This is a concierge type purchase.
Yeah.
The guy has his personal assistant call the dealership and arrange the whole thing. The guy probably just says, "I liked that Spectre I saw on that show the other day. Was it that guy driving it? I don't know, but that was a pretty car. Yeah, I think it was silver. I would like one of those next to my McLaren, which I can't get in and out of, but I still like to see over in the driveway." And so, this guy doesn't go to that dealership. I figured that out. I mean,
I,
he may pop in if he's a younger guy or whatever, just for fun. But the people going in that dealership probably got just guys like me looking at the cars for fun.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
So you're saying they're not really worried about the customer experience because they're sending a personal assistant or someone on behalf of their organization or obviously, Donald Trump Jr. is not going to go walk in and buy a vehicle. He's sending somebody from the Trump organization or insert, whatever company,
Oh
multi-million dollar
yes,
you want or an A-list.
several levels deep. Yeah,
Exactly, exactly. They're not worried about that customer experience. They're just worried about whether they can get the vehicle or not.
Yeah, I feel like
Service on it.
the customer experience is so important when you're trying to convince someone to give up $40,000 and it's a huge, huge deal to them. But if these guys are buying like a $250,000 car, it's not that they'll probably be okay.
They want what they want and they don't care.
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's
and
I
they
guess when you
delegate
get to
it.
that level, yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great point.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe for more, and drop a comment below. We'd love to hear from you and it really helps out.